Good morning. If you don't know me yet, my name is Stephen Del Castillo, and I'm the founding master instructor at Krav Maga Martial Arts, my leadership development academy that also happens to teach the most practical self defense in the world. So, today I want to talk a little bit about a principle that we teach in the martial arts. And the principle is slow down to go faster. And in the martial arts, what it means is that rather in our own personal training, or rather as a sensei, as an instructor, the instructor notices a student that is doing a technique less than correct, not to standard, not perfectly. Then what we do is we explain to the student that, listen, if you'll slow down, and by the way, the student may otherwise be looking very impressive. They may have speed and intensity and power. In fact, sometimes these are the hardest ones to get the technique right because they can get away by just using speed and power and intensity. But if the accuracy is missing, then what's important is that we slow down to go faster. Well, today I really want to talk to you in my capacity as a leader and as a leader of leaders and a trainer of leaders. Because slow down to go faster applies in every area of our life. And of course, we know that when we're talking about leadership, the first and foremost leadership is leadership of ourselves. So, in any area of our life, and I do practice what I preach here very, very regularly, sometimes daily, right? Like in any area of our life, that we realize that something isn't going exactly the way it should because we're not doing exactly something accurately or most correctly, then we need to slow down to go faster. And slowing down to go faster may just literally mean slowing down enough to analyze what's going on, to slow down enough to think through what's going on. And sometimes it may mean reading more, getting mentorship, doing the things that it takes to learn what we need to learn to go faster. We need the same thing for our organization. We recognize that some area of our organization isn't performing to the standard that we hope. Well, what do? We figure out, okay, what do I need to learn? How do I slow down to go faster? The same in leadership of a team. There's even a time, perhaps, that we have promoted someone ahead of their own ability. What do? You certainly shouldn't do what mediocre organizations should do and ignore the problem. You don't ignore the problem, and now all of a sudden you have a leader negatively affecting others because they weren't quite ready. No, you have to take responsibility for your mistake and slow down. Create a plan to slow down to go faster. And let me wrap up by talking about really, really transparently about one of my own. I don't know for sure. Look, I don't know that I have ADHD, that I ever had ADHD or not. I'm not sure that that diagnosis even existed when I was a kid, and I certainly don't care. Rather, I do or don't now. I never really cared much for labels anyway, but I can tell you that my mind in its most natural state goes a million miles an hour. And sometimes that serves me really well as an entrepreneur. I'm constantly like flooded with this flow of ideas and have to decide which ones I'm going to act on next. And then there are times, rather it's in any of these other leadership areas, leadership of my organization, leadership of a team member, leadership of a thing. Maybe it's just in my reaction because we know that between stimulus and response, there is a choice. And I'll give you a different example. I was going on the focus issue, right? That I have to slow down and put myself in this kind of mode where, okay, I'm locked in, I'm in creative mode, there are no distractions, so now I can create. That's the focus thing, right? Well, I also had a terrible temper when I was younger. In my most natural state, I have a very, and I got it honestly, temper. But here's the thing. Between stimulus and response, there is a choice. So now when somebody says or does something that makes me angry, I slow down. I think, what does this person really mean? How can I understand better? How can I seek the win-win in this situation? As opposed to just doing what I once would have done. And by the way, this serves me really, really well when I'm working with a team member that says something crazy. Sometimes it could just be a generational thing, right? Whatever. Like the growth I'm talking about right now, honestly, was recently had something with my own son that I would have reacted poorly in the past. And I slowed down, came up with a plan, presented the plan in 3 options to him, and he chose one, and it made our relationship stronger. But see, I couldn't have done that just a few years ago. I'm a creature in growth. I am trying my best to apply the Black Belt leadership principles of my academy. Constant and never-ending improvement. Perry Plan, Act, Review, Improve. An evaluated life and leadership. And I encourage you to do the same. When in your most challenging times, in your most challenging tests, today's message, today's guidance, today's advice for me is slow down to go